In example 3C, we're going to look at the last type of symmetry. We're going to look at origin symmetry. So what you want to do for origin symmetry is imagine folding the graph along both the x-axis and the y-axis, okay? We want to know where the original graph ends up, okay? So the key for origin symmetry is you're going to do both folds. You're going to fold along the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, when you do this, it does not matter which fold you do first. It does not matter if you do the x-axis folding first and then, fold along the y-axis, or if you start by folding the graph along the y-axis and then folding along the x-axis. You should get the same result. Okay. All right, so let's try this here. Again, I am going to track the original points versus the new points. Okay, so if I come over here for the graph on the left, I'm going to go ahead and write down my original points. Nothing has changed, same graph. Okay, so the original points here, -8, 3, -6, 7, and -4, 0. And we need to figure out where those guys go. Okay, all right, so let's start. Okay, I'm going to take it point by point and figure out, where each of the 3 key points goes. Okay, all right, let's start with -8, 3. I'm just going to fold along the x-axis first and then fold along the y-axis. If we take this point, -8, 3, and we fold along the x-axis, it is currently 3 units above the x-axis. So when you fold along the x-axis, this is going to go 3 units below the x-axis. So that's going to bring you to here. But remember, this is not the final point. Now you've got to flip it about the y-axis. Okay, so now this point, this temporary point, it is 8 units to the left of the y-axis. So now you're folding this point, you're folding the sheet of paper about the y-axis. Okay, so now it's 8 units to the left of the y-axis. So when you fold along the y-axis, it's going to end up 8 units to the right of the y-axis. Okay, so here's the final point in green where it ends up. Okay, so this point is going to be 8, -3. Okay, so that's what that one looks like. Okay, next, let's work on -6, 7. Okay, so I'm going to erase this so there's no confusion. Okay, all right, the first thing I'm going to do here is take this point, -6, 7, and I'm going to fold the graph along the x-axis. So currently this point is 7 units above the x-axis. Okay, so when I fold along the x-axis, this is going to go 7 units below the x-axis. So it'll end up right here. Okay, this is not the final place because now I need to take the graph and fold along the y-axis and see where this red point ends up. Okay, so currently it is, if we're folding along the y-axis, currently it is 6 units to the left of the y-axis. Okay, if we fold the sheet of paper along the y-axis, it's now going to be 6 units to the right of the y-axis. So the final spot will be 6, 7. Okay. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and connect those 2 dots because they should be connected. Okay. All right. Finally, we need to figure out where -4, 0 goes. Okay. I'm going to first fold the sheet of paper along the x-axis because this point is on the x-axis. When you fold the sheet of paper along the x-axis, the point doesn't move. Okay. So now I've got to flip about the y-axis. Okay, so where it is right now at -4, 0, it is 4 units to the left of the y-axis. Okay, and now if I fold along the y-axis, what's going to happen is that it will end up 4 units to the right of the y-axis. So it will end up right here at 4, 0. Okay, so to complete the origin symmetry graph, I need to connect this x-intercept to this point 6, -7. Okay, all right, and I mislabeled this point right here. This should be 6, -7. Okay, all right, so this graph, this green graph is the origin symmetry that has been drawn in for this original blue graph, okay? Negative 8, 3 went to 8, negative 3, negative 6, 7 went to 6, negative 7, and negative 4, 0 went to 4, 0, okay? So you're doing folding along the x-axis and the y-axis, okay? Let's try it on our last graph, okay? Let me write down our original points. Okay, again, they are negative 8, 6, 0, 5, and 8, negative 2. Let's see where they end up. Okay, I am going to start with negative 8, 6. Okay, so again, out of habit, I always fold along the x-axis first and then the y-axis. But again, you could flip about the y-axis and then flip about the x-axis. It's your preference. Okay. All right, currently this guy is 6 units above the x-axis. So if you fold along the x-axis, this guy is going to go 6 units below the x-axis to right here, okay, to negative 8, negative 6. But now you've got to flip about the y-axis. Okay, so currently this point is 8 units to the left of the y-axis. So if you fold along the y-axis, the point will go 8 units to the right of the y-axis. Okay, so we'll end up at 8, negative 6. Okay, that's going to be the new point. Okay, all right, next. Let's get rid of all this scribble so we don't get confused. All right, but I will put the point back. I forgot, I erased it. Okay, next, 0, 5. Okay, so first thing we need to do is flip this point about the x-axis. Okay, so imagine folding the graph along the x-axis. So currently this point is 5 units above the x-axis. Okay, so when you fold the sheet of paper, it's going to go 5 units below the x-axis, so it will end up at 0, negative 5. And now you need to fold the y-axis. Okay, so imagine folding the sheet of paper along the y-axis. Where's the red point going to go? Well, it's on the y-axis, so it's going to stay put. Okay, so it stays at 0, negative 5. Okay, finally, we need to move the point 8, negative 2. Okay, let's flip it about the x-axis first. Okay, it is currently 2 units below the x-axis, and so then if we fold the graph along the x-axis, this point will go 2 units above the x-axis to 8, 2. Okay, now we need to flip about the y-axis, so we need to see where this red point ends up. Okay, so here we go. This point is currently 8 units to the right of the y-axis. So when you fold along the y-axis, this point will go 8 units to the left of the y-axis. Okay, so we'll end up at negative 8, 2. Okay, all right, and so let's connect the final 3 points. So we need to connect 8, negative 6, which is down here, and we need to connect 0, negative 5, this point, and then negative 8, 2. Okay, you want it to have the same basic shape as the original graph, so you've got to connect it with that curve. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. And there you go. Okay, that is what the origin symmetry looks like, that green curve right there. Okay.